Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today I'm showing you how to make a healthy soul food meal. Now I know some of y'all thought it couldn't be done, but I promise you this meal is full of vegetables, it's full of healthy fats. I got a lot of hidden veggies in here. I'm going to be doing some gumbo collard greens, some hot honey baked chicken, some green beans, as well as a delicious salad and brown rice. Now, a lot of people define health in different ways. I can't fit all those definitions, but for this meal, I am going to be focusing on reducing refined carbs, reducing added sugar, and also using healthy fats, grass-fed butter, organic lard, olive oil, things like that. And I'm going to be avoiding vegetable oils, canola oils, and things like that. It's going to be fully seasoned, and I will have a lot of protein in this meal, okay? So I have cleaned my chicken and I've taken the skin off, and y'all guys, y'all know I'm going to clean the sink, okay? Because I ain't going to let no critters, no bacterias, none of that stay in my kitchen, okay? Now I have had a paper towel under my chicken, and also I'm going to use a paper towel to dry off the tops of my chicken. Now you will see that I did leave some of the fat on the chicken, and that is because most of that fat is going to bake off and just baste the chicken as it cooks. I'm going to add some olive oil because I want my seasoning to stick. I'm using a tablespoon of green seasoning. In the description, I'll link the video to how I make mine. I am also going to put it on some onion powder, some garlic powder, some ginger, some bouillon, and a little bit of scotch bonnet. That is going to be the heat mostly for this recipe. Some garlic, scallion, and allspice seasoning. I'm just going to do this pretty much to taste. And this seasoning has salt, so I'm not going to use any additional salt. About a teaspoon of this chicken poultry seasoning. I'll link in the description where I get that from on Amazon. And this is Kashmiri red chili powder. It's basically like paprika, but it is very vibrant. I get this from the Indian store. Regular paprika is fine. Now this sauce is really, really good. This is spicy and a little bit sweet. It's going to add a good flavor. I'm going to put on about a tablespoon and a half. I know this is honey chicken, but I'm only using half a tablespoon on the whole recipe. So while this chicken has a little bit of a sweetness to it, it's nowhere near the amount of sweetness that you typically get, because a lot of people will put about a fourth of a cup to a half of a cup, and we ain't doing all that. Now I'm going to add a little avocado oil to my cast iron skillet, because this is going to give this chicken a nice color cooking it in this cast iron skillet. I've had my oven preheating to 400 degrees, and I'm going to put on the rest of that marinade because we ain't leaving none of that flavor behind. Y'all already know the deal, okay? Now I'm going to be cooking this for in total about 1 hour. About every 20 minutes, I'm going to baste it. Or if it just looks like it's getting dry, I'm going to go in there with a spoon and pour over some of the juices. Remember, this doesn't have skin on it, so you do want to go in there from time to time. Now this is about 30 minutes in. The chicken has a nice color. It's looking good, but I want to push it so that we can get a really nice color. And this is 1 hour. This chicken is delicious. It's not overly sweet. It's very well seasoned, and it is super juicy. You will not be disappointed, honey. We are going to get started on these gumbo collard greens. Now, as I said, I'm going to be using some organic butter, and I'll also be using some organic fat back. This is way less oil than you would typically put in gumbo. Most gumbos have a half of a cup to even 1 full cup of oil, and we are drastically reducing that today. If you don't do pork, just do extra butter. I have some chicken andouille sausage, and I'm going to just toast them in this oil until they get a nice brown color. Then I will remove the sausage. I have already rough chopped, that holy trinity. Okay, I got that celery, I got that onion, I got that bell pepper, and I chopped it big because this is going to go in the pressure cooker. So ain't no need to make it all little tiny and cute. Okay, it's going to break down. Okay, I'm going to put in this Tony's spices and herbs, and y'all, this is so good. It's almost better than the regular Tony's. Try it if you ain't tried it. Okay, and I'm going to just saute this for about 3 to 4 minutes until it's got a nice color on it. I'm going in with 5 cloves of rough chopped garlic. Again, it's going to get pressure cooked. I ain't trying to do no small mince. And I'm going to toast this for about 1 minute until the smell is just all up in my kitchen, baby. Half of a teaspoon of salt-free Cajun seasoning is going to add some smokiness. It's going to add that pepper, that garlic, all of that good stuff. Of course, I got my smoked turkey. Going to throw that in my pressure cooker with all of my meats and my fat bag and just 2 cups of water. If you want this to be more brothy, I'd go in with 4 cups. 2 teaspoons of low sodium, better than bouillon chicken. And I am going to pressure cook this for about 35 minutes. I'm going to give it a jump start before I put in the collard greens because I really want this turkey to fall off of the bone. And so if I just do it 35 minutes only, I feel like it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to pressure cook it once, and then I'm going to go in with all the vegetables. To give it a little bit more of a classic gumbo taste, I am going to be using 2 tablespoons of my dry roux. I showed you all how I made this in my last video where I made gumbo. You can check that out. Now, you could add up to 1 cup of the dry roux, but we're trying to minimize flour here, okay? So just 2 tablespoons, I think is plenty. I'm adding all my vegetables in plus a cup of okra. Even if you do not like okra, you will like this because the okra basically is just going to break down and add a little bit of thickening. You will not taste it at all. Now this is 2 pounds of washed collard greens because baby, I won't try to wash and cut nothing. Okay, I let the stove do it for me. Then I'm going to put back on my lid and I'm going to pressure cook this for about 32 minutes. You are going to see these greens break down. The turkey, which is going to add so much protein, is going to fall off the bone. Okay, this is delicious. Now to balance out the flavors, I went in with 2 teaspoons of sugar. That is not a lot. Okay, just to give it a little sweetness to complement the smokiness from the turkey and the salt-free Cajun seasoning. To me, this is perfect. Now, if you want yours to be looser and have a lot more gravy, add a little bit more broth. But I am going to put in about a teaspoon of gumbo filet just to give it that classic gumbo taste. And this is some good greens. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all right now, people will fight for these greens. Okay, bring this to your Soul Food Sunday table. All right, people ain't even gonna realize how healthy it is. I'm also gonna go in with some scallions and toss this up. Now, if you've been enjoying these recipes so far, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, honey, and subscribe because look, I done brought y'all Healthy Soul Food Sunday. Look what Sister done done for you. Okay, now what I'm doing with this mac, okay, try it before you judge it. Okay, I have 12-ounce bag of cauliflower here. I've just cooked this in the microwave for 5 minutes and I'm squeezing out all the juice. Now trust, there will be noodles and cheese in this recipe. This is not a cauliflower mac. This is a hidden veggie mac, okay? So I'm going to dump all this cauliflower into my blender. I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup of heavy cream and about a 1/2 cup of whole milk. And I'm going to blend this all together. I am not going to get rid of the cream because that's in mac, but I am going to puree this until it is extremely smooth, like it is silky smooth. To reduce the refined flour in this recipe though, I am going to be using gluten-free brown rice noodles instead of your typical noodles. Now these are actually really, really good. They have a great taste. You would not know that you are eating some good quality healthy noodles. And I'm going to just boil these according to the package instructions. Now I will be using butter in this recipe because fat makes it more filling. I suggest that you just eat a smaller portion of the macaroni and cheese. I'm using a 1.5 tablespoons of flour. If you are actually gluten-free, you can leave out the flour and just use 1 egg to bind it at the end, which really you could do because as you see with this cauliflower mixture being added, this becomes very thick and creamy. I tell you, the children won't know. Instead of adding extra heavy cream, I'm going to go in with 1 can of evaporated milk. And that will actually reduce the fat in this recipe, but still let it be extremely creamy. For the cheeses, I suggest you go with a grass-fed white cheddar cheese. Okay, that's high quality dairy for you. I'm going to use a little bit of Munster and just a little bit of Gouda. I'll also be putting in 1/2 of this garlic and herb Boursin cheese, but that really is optional. That's just for a little bit of flavor. I'm going to let this cook until my cheeses all melt together, and you're going to really start developing a very nice cheese sauce. I tell you the truth, They won't know there is cauliflower in this because you have blended it. To get the classic color, I will add a little bit of Sazon. Now, this may not be the type of mac that you bring to the potluck. You know, everyone don't want hidden veggie mac. But this could be the type of mac that you give your kids, your family, just on a Sunday when you don't want something that's quite as heavy as your regular macaroni and cheese and you want to sneak some vegetables in. I'm going to season this to taste with salt, pepper, vegeta. I'm adding a little bit extra evaporated milk just to make it a little looser, just to my own taste. I'll put in a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, and then I will put in my noodles and mix it all around. I will say this though, I feel like this tastes best when you do this as a baked mac as opposed to a stovetop mac. I think it really just breaks down the cauliflower even more and just helps all the flavors just melt together. I'm going to mix all of this and then I will put this in my baking dish. I've had my oven preheating to 375 degrees. I'm going to add on the leftover Munster cheese and Gouda cheese, but you'll notice I didn't add a ton of extra cheese, okay? You don't need it because this is very, very creamy. I'm going to bake this for about 25 to 27 minutes until the color is nice and brown, it's bubbly. Of course, I'm going to add a little paprika. Okay, real chefs know you got to add it just for the color, okay? Make it feel like you did something. And then y'all check this mac out, okay? You better let me know in the comments. Will you try this? Okay, because check me out. This has the same pull. It got the same look. And my girlfriend, she said, sister, this got the same taste as a regular mac. I didn't even tell her it had veggies in it, and she did not know. All right, tell me, will you try this, baby? Tell me, will you try this? To add extra veggies to this meal, I am going to be doing some quick and easy green beans. I'm going to boil my green beans in a little bit of salted and bouillon water. I'm going to drain them out. I just boil them for about 5 minutes until they're soft. Then I'm going to put them in a pan with some garlic and a little bit of butter, a little bit of white pepper. I'm going to use some of that Tony's, and I'm going to crank the heat up because I want them to blister. That charred color is going to give a nice taste to the green beans. To add a little bit of heat, I've decided that I want to put in some crushed red pepper. Just a nice little kick, you know what I mean? And check it out. We got some easy green beans. Don't take no more than 10 minutes, honey. And then we are going to be adding a little bit of brown rice. I'm going to put in some butter, a little bit of onion, even more veggie. Y'all see what I'm doing here. Come on now. Going to toast this for about 2 minutes. Add in 2 garlic cloves. Now, I've just crushed them because I don't want a ton of garlic flavor, just a little bit. Some rosemary, some thyme, and a bay leaf. This is how you make your brown rice taste good. Because I know some of y'all be like, I don't touch that brown rice. But you got to season it, okay? I'm going to add 1.5 cups of water and 1.5 cups of brown minute rice. And I'm just going to cook this until it is nice and soft on a low heat. I added a nice salad with some tomatoes. And bam, baby! Honey, you a fool live. You telling me this don't look good. Because, hey, look, what you do is just get a little serving of the mac and cheese, get a little serving of the brown rice, and just fill up on these delicious veggies and proteins. Let me know if I should do some more healthy Soul Food Sunday videos. And if you really enjoyed this content, don't forget that I love you and Jesus loves you. And I'll see you next time on Kamira's Kitchen. God bless.